Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 522, recorded live on Sunday, June 17th. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have returning to the show, Asheras. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. This week's screenshot, Kurvar takes a break while watching the last of the drone ships waste away in the blockade buster, the 370th screenshot of the week. Very nice little sneaky shot there, like that one. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOCast.com. DDOCast hosted by Cyberbreeders, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will be sometime next weekend. It'll be kind of like this weekend, or it might be a little fluid. Still kind of trying to figure out what next weekend looks like. We're in the midst of playoffs with umpiring and stuff like that, so that's why this is kind of a bit of a shotgun, and we didn't really have a firm planned out date in advance, for which I apologize. But in any case, you can stay up to by following us on social media with at DDOCast on Twitter is kind of the best place to do it. See, on the podcast this week, we have part 3 of our leveling at 30 plus, which we recorded, you and I, a couple weeks ago. I think this is the one it's all Ravenloft. We needed time to talk about just Ravenloft, and there are too many quests. We also have a little bit more news to talk about the Beacon of Hope and kind of some changes and some other stuff with that. So let's jump right in, shall we? So Beacon of Hope.
Yeah, let's do it.
Beacon of Hope came out last week. That was the new Favored Soul enhancement tree. And they posted a couple things about it. Clarifications, a couple of changes. Putting hope for success at the same cooldown as everything else would definitely be overpowered with very rare exceptions. The melee and range power is not going to net you overall damage. That's the one that, so hope for success is the one that gives you a boost of critical. People were saying, hey, it's like a way longer cooldown than all the other ones.
It is.
Yes, with reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a really cool feature that they put that in there. It's unique in the game, and it's a creative thing to do. The entire tree is really creative, but that one in particular, it's interesting. But obviously, they have to watch that from a scaling standpoint.
Yeah. Let's see. If you are close enough to heal the person, which is the primary role of the tree, you are close enough to apply any of these buffs. Yes, there will be times that they're blocked or out of range, but that's also true of healing. Let's see. So someone posted on there that, hey, there's only this really cool tier 5 ability. You're basically going to an entire party member because you won't be doing anything else. Steel Star said the healing would be the anything else that you could be doing, ideally. They're playing with durations on cooldowns with hope buffs internally. The current 6-second cooldown and 8 and 12-second uptime plays pretty well when you don't need healing at all. I think we'll come back to that later. I think we're going to touch that later. Let's see. Heal Lamp and Fairy Fire Cone is actually pretty unique and thematic. Is there a save or spell resistance on the Fairy Fire part? And stuff. I said he'll double check, but he believes it's a no save and no spell resistance at the moment. It's cast whenever you cast the beacons, which are the same casting time as Cone of Cold and are quickenable. In practice, he often stood behind the party as they fought things in a doorway, hitting them with Beacon of Grace and healing them and lighting up enemies at the same time. It was up 100% of those times as he was firing the Beacon of Grace pretty frequently. As mentioned above, his hope is that thinking the timer and duration is right on most difficulties. Unless you're over your heads, which he says is totally fine. It makes sense. Can't do a whole lot if you're trying to stay alive sometimes. So.
Sure.
The temporary hit point. There's a question about the temporary hit points that are added after Leap of Faith and stuff. I said it's a fairly large AoE that goes off when you end the leap. You'd use it to leap forward toward the party rather than escape danger. It's worked pretty well in playtesting, but they are going to revisit the scaling. Let's see. Regarding the SLAs, so there's a lot of SLAs in here, and people kind of seem to react to them negatively. And we didn't bring this point up, but the main reason why they put them in there was to open up spell slots. I think that's kind of a clever way of doing it. So the idea here that they were doing was that you could have these spells if you wanted, with your action points, and then that would take the place of your spell slot, so you can just put something else in the spell slot. A pretty neat way of doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's an interesting concept, although I would say that by putting Good Hope as an SLA, which isn't a spell they normally get in their spell book, that's probably not going to save you a spell slot. And the other one is Close Wounds, which I don't know that there's a lot of favored souls that are taking that in the first place.
I don't know if there's a lot of people, period, taking Close Wounds.
I don't know. I don't know a lot of people know what it does. But yeah, I've generally questioned why that it wouldn't just be a Cure Moderate Wounds, it's because Close Wounds is a second level spell if you don't know, and Cure Moderate is the equivalent healing spell at that level. But the Death Ward SLA, which is probably the most interesting of that group because that's a level 4 spell, and level 4 for divines, especially for favored souls, is a very crowded level.
Sure.
So, for spells. So
the other thing too is you did mention too that some people use scrolls to free up spell slots too, but that's not always want to do that. So that's the thing. But he was saying hey, if you don't want these spell-like abilities, speak up and they might come up with something else. So there's certainly an advantage to having True Resurrection as an SLA, right? That because scrolls can get interrupted. And if you're running for your life as the last man standing in a raid and trying to throw reses out, having something that's not interruptible can be pretty handy.
Or if you and I have done the recover a raid where one person is using Reborn in Light or gibbering, and then you need to get the entire party up really quickly. Having the spell slots, the scrolls, and the SLA would be also very helpful in those situations. So I can see a lot of value in it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're certainly not invaluable, but I understand why some people will be like, "Is this really worth it?" Well, everything in the tree doesn't have to be worth it to you, right? Choices are good.
Yeah, I think the other concept is that they're very mana friendly typically, which I think becomes more an issue when you're dealing with DPS spells. But having a heal SLA is also a really nice thing.
Yeah. So some updates that they posted, that Steelstar did. They added some clarifying text to the beacons about how they affect undead. They hurt undead at the same value as they heal, will save for half damage. They are both conjuration spells, Beacon of Grace being a 1st level spell, and Beacon of Hope being a 5th level spell in terms of saves. So yeah, that's pretty basic. Both beacons now take Heighten and Embolden to go with those will saves on undead. It's kind of fun.
Nice, yeah.
And they're so are they spell-like abilities? So those would be free, I would think. The meta magics should be free.
Yep.
This is fun. I like this suggestion. I'm glad it puts it. Beacon of Hope now adds the effect of a remove paralysis spell along with everything else it was already doing. It's cool. That's great. Flight of Gloria's temporary hit points have been raised to triple your character level plus an additional 50. That's a pretty big boost. The Might's Reward, all versions of Might's Reward now add a base 5 positive spell power in addition to the listed scaling. The Hope spells now last 18 seconds. However, they do keep their cooldowns as written. So the reason for that was, I said we can cover this. They're trying to kind of come up with a timing thing, right? So it doesn't feel like you can't keep it up at the expense of everything else you're doing. There's a lot of clicks and stuff. So it allows you more chance to kind of keep them up, as it were.
Yeah, Divine Power has a similar, Divine Punishment has a similar sort of function where it doesn't expire as quickly as your cooldown does, so that you can actually be doing something, casting other spells, and you don't have to be right there when it expires.
Gives you some flexibility.
Or the other option with this is with an 18-second duration and a 6-second cooldown, you can also have it running on multiple party members simultaneously.
Assuming they don't need healing, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see, the first 3 Hope spells now have a base value added before their scaling numbers. So, Hope for Inspiration is now a sacred bonus to all skills equal to 1 plus a quarter your favorite soul level. Hope for Protection is now a sacred bonus to PRR and MRR equal to 3 plus your favorite soul level. And Hope for Victory is now a sacred bonus to melee and range power equal to 3 plus half your favorite soul level, and universal spell power equal to 6 plus your favorite soul level. So a little bit of a boost. And then Wall of Healing is now 15 spell points and lasts for 15 seconds with a 30-second cooldown. So there you go. Those are the kind of updates on that. You're kind of the resident favorite soul expert, or at least the closest thing we have. Certainly you play more than I do.
Thanks.
You play more than I do for
favorite soul. Well, I love the favorite soul class. I started playing it when it first came out, the first week it came out, and I've had one of my two main characters has been a favorite soul of some sort ever since. So this is a very good thing to see the third tree being filled in, and I really like where they're going with this tree. I think that some of the tweaks they've made are good, and I think it's one that we're really going to need to play with to really understand fully how it functions. But I like that they're doing something creative and taking healing in a different direction than maybe what you saw before with Radiant Servant, for example.
Yeah, it's got a much different play, I think, and I think you're right. I think one of the things that people are going to have to really see on this is how well does it fit their play style. Because it sounds pretty click happy and it sounds pretty Twitch happy. So you got to get the aiming right. You got to there's a lot of clicking involved in making all these things work. I mean, between there's 4 hopes and 2 beacons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 7 more things to click on. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things I really like about it. I like the Beacon of Grace and Beacon of Hope, which are basically, heal SLAs for lack of a better term, but they have an interesting kind of function. In terms of how they hit everything in front of you in like a cone or sort of function, and that's really a neat and cool idea. I think that the Radiant Servant with their aura is a one way of handling things, but that require that's ongoing running in an automated fashion, but it's
requires
also
a little bit more proximity to the party.
Yep, proximity. And then you have the Druid, which has a lot of the vigor spells, which are doing kind of less reactive and more proactive healing. So I like that they didn't kind of duplicate that here. They went a different direction, and but I think you're right. It is going to require a slightly different play style. I really like the Flight of Glory and the idea that they're doing something more with the Leap of Faith. I felt like the wings have always been a signature part of the favorite soul character class, and I'd love to see them actually. I know they didn't have this technology at the time, but now with Azamar and with Reaper, we actually have real wings. I'd love to see them at some point go back in and give the favorite soul actual wings that they could wear, on a regular basis. But that's not necessarily a part of this tree per se, but just a general comment.
Sure.
So, yeah, and then getting into like Might's Reward is a really unique concept. It's at tier 2, and you gain a sacred bonus to your positive spell power based on a stat modifier, be it strength, wisdom, or charisma. And that's a neat thing that they're doing there. I'd love to see that maybe when they get around to redoing the Angel of Vengeance tree, or maybe when they get into doing the Sork trees. I'd love to see some sort of bonus to spell power for maybe specific elements and things like that based on a modifier on a limited duration. But that's kind of a cool thing they're doing here as well. And then you get into the hopes as well, which I think is nice that there's some buffing that you can do. So much of healing is such a reactive thing, and it can be really tedious to just be staring at the blue bars and the red bars waiting for them to change, and then doing something with that. Whereas with these buffs here, you're able to help the melees out, give them some more DPS, give them some more universal spell power to your casters. It's good stuff, but it is a totally different way of playing.
There's a lot of opportunity for tactics too, right? So say that someone is going to, like, hey, I'm about to hit my Fury shot.
Yeah,
that would be a good time to.
Success.
Yeah, it would be a good time to increase their critical multiplier. Is it critical multiplier or is it critical?
Yeah, absolutely.
Multiplier, right?
It's both. It's both.
Oh, it's both. Okay.
Range and multiplier.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see where that absolutely, would be an important one. I also like, the Wall of Healing is a really interesting idea too, in terms of how you can place that, and because that being heal over time effect can be really, really useful. I could see too where if you're going to do some fighting in doorways sort of things, you can drop a wall of healing on that same area, and yeah, interesting things.
Yeah, a lot of fun choices there. So, sentient gems. There was a question about where you can get sentient gems, and Coco Majobo was kind enough to say there are a few different sources currently. There's one you can get. There's 3 from Tobar the Smith in the Epic Landscape of Ravenloft. You can get all 3 of those plus a 4th one with the Legendary Elite Saga reward list. So if you get that, there is also the Ravenloft Raids chests, which I have never seen. It seems
I don't
like
think I have either.
It seems like maybe they need to either look at the drop rate of that, or, I don't know, maybe put it in the list for what you can buy. Like, it doesn't even have to be. It could be like twice as many other runes. That would be fine. But I think you should be able to buy it if you're gonna put it in that chest, for something like that. Anyways, also they did mention the Kobold Sentient Jewel when that event is active. There are also, he says he didn't hear it from him, but there may also be new sources in the future. Yeah, that we've already heard that before, so I don't know why he's being coy about it, but that's expected. Also, he did not mention there is another place. There is a Jewel of the Timid that you can get from the I can't remember, the totems, talismans, whatever the legendary versions of the bits that you get out of the Ravenloft quests.
Those are totems, yes.
Yeah, one of them's totems and one of them's totems, one of them's talismans, I think, or something like that. Anyways, you can get the timid one from there as well. So,
well, yeah, I think and obviously with White Plume Mountain having been announced for U39, and just knowing from a PnP perspective that those are sentient weapons.
Yeah, they kind of have all but said that there's gonna be. They may have even actually outright said it, but yeah. I would be shocked if there were not. So, and in terms of, let's really quick, out of the 3 that you get, so there's Inquisitive, Hopeful, and Resolute. What's the 3rd one?
Yeah.
And I would say of those 3, I don't mind the Hopeful one. It's kind of bouncy.
Yeah.
The other ones are the other 2. I kind of for me.
I think I have the Resolute one on my melee, and it's fine. It's kind of funny, but I don't know. I like some of the things it says.
The Inquisitive and Resolute ones kind of became stale more quickly for me than the other ones.
Okay.
The Furious one, which is the 4th one you can get from the Elite Saga reward list.
Okay.
That one I know a lot of people like.
Okay. And then the Covetous one is the one that can be found in the raid, right?
I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it. Haven't heard it. I don't know anything about it other than it exists theoretically. So I've been told. I'm only half convinced it's not a rumor meant to get us to run the raid ad nauseum. The one from the talismans or totems, whatever it is the timid one. That's the one that's actually voiced by Cordovan.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It has.
I don't think I have one of those. Yeah, I
got it. Yet. It feels like they didn't do as much work with the polishing it, if that makes sense. Okay. It doesn't really feel like it's voice acted as so much as Jerry was reading lines at a point in time, which is actually how it started, because it was a I can't remember the term for it, but it was like the test track. So I don't know if they really polish it off very much. What it says is kind of interesting. It's a different flavor. It's a very different flavor because it's hey, don't use me. Yay, you're putting me away. That kind of thing. Like it doesn't want to be used. So it has some funny lines. But I think it, like some of the other ones, It stales a little quicker. The Cobalt Gem is my favorite. That one feels like it's got either has more stuff it's saying or more variation or something like that. But I find that one to be the least stale of them for me personally.
I don't like Cobalt, so I avoid that one.
It's a bit of a grind to get to, so save yourself that.
If I'm going to grind party favors, there's other things I'd rather get.
Sure. Let's see, the LFM panel. So there's some questions about the LFM panel, and what people were using it for. So Cordovan chimed in a couple times. So he said the LFM panel is meant to be used for looking for more, questing, raiding, etc. In general, if the purpose is to group up with people, and if people can join your group to quest or engage in gameplay, it's probably fine. The LFM panel is not meant to be used as an advertisement for your thing, especially if you're trying to keep up an ad up there long term. Enforcement is largely complaint-based, but that depends on what's going on. The expected behavior is used for grouping. He also said that they have not formally included rules on the live stream URLs in the LFM panel, but the rules regarding existing LFM should apply. An LFM is appropriate if it is being used to get people to join your group. He says there is an etiquette issue with Twitch and other live streaming that he personally have followed. If he's streaming live and accepting random people in his group, it's his feeling that it's proper to let people know they will be, quote, on camera, so to speak, and both character and voice chat if applicable. So he'll include something along the lines of live streaming at the Geo stream on Twitch or wherever in the LFM. So it seems like the best way to let people know before they join. It's usually what I do if I'm also doing it as well. If you're live streaming, it's just kind of curious to let people know that anything they say is going to be on the internet forever and ever and ever and ever. That said, if the purpose of putting up the LFM is to long-term advertise your personal Twitch or YouTube channel, and you aren't actively questing and allowing people to join you to do it, then yeah, that's not okay. So, if people are joining your group and you are accepting people to join your group, and everything in your LFM is related to that, you should be fine. That was kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, I'm surprised this is still an issue, but
I mean, you see it every once in a while. So
you do, yeah. I haven't found it to be. I only play on Kyber, but I haven't found that the Kyber LFM panel is filled with a lot of,
usually
non actual grouping purposed entries.
Yep. Let's see, bonus days. You get plus 10 treasure hunter boosts now through June 20th. Which I didn't think it was supposed to really affect a lot of that stuff. But Reaper bonuses and Mythic bonuses seem to be dropping a lot better right now.
Yeah,
so,
very much so.
I think it's safe to say that it is affecting it if it wasn't supposed to be. So, which means those plus treasure hunter boost potions and elixirs I have burning a hole in my bank might be more useful.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some of those on.
Yeah, right. Our guild leader pulled, what did she pull, like 4 +2 stat Reaper helms in evening?
Yeah, in one evening she got the Executioner's Helm out of Slavers Part 2 with a Reaper bonus on it, legendary version. Then we were running the Disciples of Rage chain, and she got the +19 Wisdom Helm with the +2 bonus. And then we were running Memoirs, and she got the Circlet with the +2 Reaper on that as well. And then I think she went back and got that same Wisdom Helm again out of the Disciples of Rage series with a Reaper bonus, all in one night. That's crazy.
Considering that we don't usually let her open the chest because her luck is terrible.
Yeah.
Like Drac level terrible. That's a pretty good night. Let's see, store sales for limited time. I believe this is the first time this has happened, but it was kind of expected.
Think it is.
+8 tomes are available through today, the time of this recording. So if you're not listening to this live, it's probably too late.
They'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah. The sale was get a boost. You get 25% off of Sovereign XP elixirs, Treasure Hunter elixirs, Greater Slayer boosts, and long-lasting Supreme Ability potions. See, the weekly coupon is a Greater Crafting Experience elixir with the coupon code CRAFTXP. So you can get that. You still need to level up your crafting. One of these days, I should maybe finish that.
I would advise people to get that and then hold on to it until there's a weekend when you get the crafting XP bonus and double up.
Yep. Let's see. That will take us to community news. The 287th Chronicle. Got a shout out for the 2018 second annual DDO fashion competition. And let me tell you, the pictures in that thread already are fantastic. I don't know if you've looked at these.
I saw a couple of them, yeah.
There was one particularly that got highlighted in the dev tracker of a bear reading a book on a toilet, which is pretty darn. I think it was a toilet, but a bear sitting down reading a book, something like that. But that was pretty darn good. Let's see. Also, Axel had a unboxing video of a DDO box. Like you buy the game in a box. So that's, I mean, I don't think those have even been available since like a year after the game came out. Maybe a little longer than that, but they haven't been available in a long time. So I'm surprised he got his hand on one. It's pretty good. I actually did buy the game in the box when it came out, or when I got it, a couple months after it came out. So let's see, D&D night was actually, I was doing that before the show. Evil Beaker was DMing, and I won't give away any spoilers, but you can check that out either on Twitch in the next couple of days, or I think they'll put it on YouTube as well. The guild for the week, Jubilex Arcana, is a level 11 Brazilian guild on Orion that's looking for new and old players to join. They're interested in players willing to raid and test crazy builds with each other. Once they grow, they would like to schedule weekly raids, class trials, and PvP events. You can contact Numenix for more info there. The comment for the week, what is the least useful item in your inventory that you just refuse to get rid of? Probably the thing that's been in my inventory consistently that I have never hardly ever used, certainly not in several years. Bracelets of friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're not useful. I just never use them.
I have those in the shared bank. I don't even pull them out anymore. But yeah,
there are actually useful uses for it, because you can take people to the second part of IQ, Inspired Quarter.
Okay.
You can pop them over there, which they wouldn't be able to get there otherwise. There are uses for it. I just, by the time I ever think about it, it's like everyone's already there anyway, so I just never use it.
Mm-hmm. They've created a lot of fast travel options for us.
True.
That make that not quite as necessary anymore. Sure.
People used them back in the day when we were running Tower Despair a lot too. That was probably the last time I used them.
Yeah, so you don't have to make the run.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, you got anything more less useful that you've used but still have?
I don't know. I keep a lot of pots that I never use still, but I always try and stock pots. I don't know. It's kind of the old-fashioned player in me back when those were useful. I have healing pots in all my characters.
I don't really use the Angel Tears very much, but I keep grabbing them out of the bank on a TR character.
Yeah, Angel Tears, cupcakes. Mm-hmm.
I use the cupcakes.
I have ham somewhere too.
Ooh, ham would be good. Especially, I kind of wish on Reaper mode they would make it minimum 1 hit point from stuff, just so you could use the ham. Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's see, fansite news. We got a shout out for our show last week, 521, talking about level 30 leveling up. DDO Players News had their 181st episode with Legacy Zombies. McVegan Pax does some swashbuckling shenanigans. Doug finished up the Pirates of the Thunder Sea on Bard Life. Damsel DDO took a trip to the Abbey of St. Markovia. Hephaestus did the Servants' Quarters on Reaper 4. DDOPL got to the max level in their newest stream. Shoemaker talks DDO Wiki in episode 107, and Sip blogged about a new adventure and breakdancing skills.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of a little interlude from his Ravenloft stuff the last couple weeks. Let's see. Also, Update 39 should be released to Lemania this week, so look forward to that. Also, the Mimic Hunt was running this weekend as well. Actually, I think it's running through Wednesday or Thursday. So, yay for Mimics.
Yeah.
I've been busy enough. I've been playing a little bit more than I have been, but I've been busy enough that every time I like the first Mimic, oh right, the Mimic hunt's on. Yay, Mimics! Please don't eat me. Let's see events. So Cordovan is doing a I see you hide and seek event. So he's going to different servers on his plus Cordovan character, using his admin commands to make himself invisible. And then he's finding a place to hide, making himself visible, and then inviting people to come and find him. And then he's giving people evil eye certificates. And then when people like really kind of start to congregate there, he's been dropping a bunch of stuff, and including monsters, I think. So
okay.
I think someone mentioned something about it in the marketplace or something. Something got dropped, but. He still is going. So on Monday, June 18th, he'll be on Orion at 1 p.m. and Solana at 2. And on Tuesday, the 19th, he'll be at Atlantis at 1 and Wayfinder at 2 as well. So.
Yeah, I got one of the Evil Eye certificates when he was on Kyber. They're cool. So definitely worth.
They look a little too much like the monster ones in Age of Rage.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do.
Also, you can just pop into the thread and type "I see you" in the thread and get entered to win one of the 10 creatures as well. And he also said that he's going to be doing some more of this stuff too if it's successful, which I think it has been. So there you go. So people enjoy it. All right, lightning post really quick. Fuzzy Duck 81 said he likes the look of the new beacon tree. He suspects it'll end up in a similar place to Ranger's Deepwood Soccer Tree. Excellent as a main tree for those that want it. Great secondary tree regardless of whatever primary route you choose. We haven't seen the changes to the other 2 trees yet. But let's see. Other stuff he said. Warsaw in particular, he can't see it likely that they'll lose Immolating Strike for its AoE healing and restoration right in the middle of combat, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm surprised there. Also, there's a lot of undead in the game, including the newest endgame areas, so abilities that simultaneously boost your allies and contribute to nuking the Walking Dead are pretty nice. He says closing wounds can give a decent amount of hit points back with metamagics and high spell power. He suspects its inclusion is primarily because of its sheer speed. Yeah, it's super fast. It's a spell you can fire off virtually no time, or SP between other buffs and healing effects. The skill buff is situational, pretty sweet. Since it's a sacred bonus, it'll stack with morale bonuses offered from Bard songs, as well as Good Hope, which is also in the tree. The Rise Dead and True Resurrection SLAs he rather likes as it frees up a couple of spell slots. While yes, you can scroll them, you can't quicken the scroll. Yeah, that's true. And as we said, if you are getting beat on and running away for your life, that's an advantage. He also mentioned you don't have to swap from your weapon or your caster stick. So, that's a good point. The Hope buffs are able to be enlarged. Makes sense since this tree's abilities benefit more from a standoff, a bit and heal, than Radiant Servant, which is more of a heal from the middle tree, and you'll be able to reach your eyes to buff them. Yeah, kind of fun. All right, that'll wrap us up for the news. We will have our topic here in a few moments. Before then, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks, Asheras, for joining me tonight. Anything you want to kind of plug out before we go?
No, just listen to the next part of the show here. It's a good one.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun recording that and talking about the different quests and whatnot. And highlighting some that are be better for whatever you're doing for leveling and stuff.
Yeah. And one last thing. It is Father's Day today, so happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there if you're catching this late.
Or whenever you listen to it, Happy Father's Day. Well, thanks to all the other contributors for DDOCast and to Standing Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast for making DDO happen, and to Cybrators for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOcast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage, or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email me at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you want to be part of the show, if you have a comment on this episode, maybe there's a question or a topic you'd like to hear us talk about, or you just want to say hi, you can leave a comment or you can email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us for the latest cast updates. Our closing tip for the week comes from Athelrion on Solana. He says to take your time. So until next time, stay tuned for part 3 of our topic of leveling 30 plus. All right, welcome back. This is Patrick, your host. We are talking about leveling 30 plus, part 3. It went longer than we anticipated, so we're doing another part. With me this week is Asheras.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome back. A marathon recording session for these. If you didn't know, what we started doing is we just kind of record the topic discussion all at one time, and then I break it up. So this is our 4th one in a row. We've covered 27 to 29, and now we're finishing up leveling at 30 plus. Again, just a quick recap that it's important to note that Reaper XP is doubled for level 30 plus. Today we're going to talk, this is just about Ravenloft from a leveling perspective, the quest for Ravenloft. So, we'll just kind of go through them, through the chains, all the way through. You can easily, I think, do the chains in about an hour. Skulls may vary depending on your party and stuff like that, but even we've kind of been talking about like where like these all run for mid skulls, and these ones are all generally pretty easy to do mid skulls. But I do want to mention, which I haven't mentioned really before, is even on R1, you're still gonna get with an XP pot somewhere around 2,000 Reaper XP a quest. So if you're new to Reaper, or you don't feel really comfortable doing Reaper with your party or whatever, but if you think you can get R1 through R1 on a lot of these, my favorite quest chains for level 30 plus for Reaper is Multitude of Menace, Age of Rage, Mines of Tethymar, and Ravenloft. If you can get through those your first time through on one skull, you're gonna get like 3 or 4 or 5 Reaper points at least. So it's worth trying to do that. Anything you want to say on that before we jump right in?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that the difference level between Elite and R1 is not that large. And I think it's definitely worth making the effort. If you feel like you can do Elite, then I would definitely try R1, especially if the folks in your party have a couple Reaper points already to allocate, because the Lost Souls help with mana. And if you got some Reaper points there, then that can generally offset some of the power gap between what you were experiencing and the difference between Elite and R1. And it's definitely worth it. At this point, if you're running content at this level, then you're going to be seeing a lot of LFMs for Reaper. And so you might as, even if you're not, you haven't gotten into the Reaper thing yet, starting to acquire some Reaper XP with your Quest XP, it's just generally a good way to go. And it's okay if you're not ready for the higher skull levels yet, because you'll get there. But I would definitely consider it to be part of your character's progression.
Yeah.
Work that in.
And those 4 chains are totally doable on R1, even as you're kind of leveling up. You're level 28, you can probably get through these. All right. Into the Mists is the first one. You have to run it to get into Ravenloft at all. Pretty short, pretty straightforward. Go straight.
Yep. Go straight, kill a scarecrow, and you're good to go.
You don't even have to finish you have to kill more scarecrows to get the end chest. But if you just want to get that Reaper XP, you can do that right just like that, or just the XP in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So pretty easy to do, pretty straightforward.
I will say
watch out for the wisps.
Yeah. Watch out for the wisps, and I will say that chest is generally worth it, and it's not that much extra work. There's a couple cloaks in here that are kind of nice. So if you haven't gotten them yet,
it's true. There'll be a running theme with Ravenloft. Watch out for the wisps. They're probably the most dangerous mob, second most dangerous mob in here. Their Psychonic Blast is really what and Magic Missile is really kind of looking at. Magic Missile is pretty easy to get around.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
The Psychonic Blast, though, is not mitigated by MRR or PRR or anything, so those hurt.
Yep. And wisps have that same thing where they're generally resistant to most. They have a high spell resistance, and they're
really high spell resistance.
Yeah, and they're resistant to a lot of your other crowd control options. So there's limited stuff that works on them.
Hurl
And
through hell
you,
works.
yep,
I think you
yeah,
can paralyze them
you
with
can.
various things. But physical things that you can stun them, you can assassinate them. These are all things that work pretty well depending
Mm,
on what you can get away
yep.
with. But all right, the second quest in the chain is Death House, which a lot of people consider to be their favorite out of Ravenloft. I would not disagree.
No,
It's creepy.
it is. It captures the whole feel of Ravenloft perfectly in a lot of ways. Yeah.
It's a lot of undead, so crowd control gives a little bit of challenge with crowd control, but not too much.
Hmm.
The end fight isn't really even too bad either. Yeah, uh, it's a really solid quest. Not too long, not too short.
No,
Uh,
as far as Reaper XP per minute, it's going to be a good run, and
yeah.
I see a lot of folks running it for that reason because it's one of those quests that can be a lot longer if you want to go into every nook and cranny, but if you just want to head right for the critical path, then you
Mm-hmm.
can get through this one pretty quickly. Um,
Yeah.
and you can do that and get the end chest. Now, unlike Into the Mist, where you kind of do extra to get the end chest, this one you can just run straight there, hit your levers and fight your boss and
Boom, done.
collect your move on. So
Fresh Baked Dreams is very Death House is non-linear. Most of the Ravenloft quests are non-linear, to be honest. But Death House, you can kind of path it pretty straightforward. Fresh Baked Dreams, you have to find things
hmm
in the forest, which take a little bit of time. The wolves are not. There's a lot of wolves. They're not too hard to deal with. It's all about the wisps, really. There's a ton of wisps in here, so kind of keep an eye out for those, especially if you see a champion one.
yep,
Ouch. Um, the fight in the windmill isn't too bad. Just clear stuff on the bottom, and if you want the end chest, make sure you kill Morgana last in the
yep,
windmill.
that's important. Yep.
Um, but if you just want the XP and run, then you can kill her there and be done with it. Um,
hmm
the end fight in this one can be a little bit challenging. There's a lot of named
Sure.
rocks. If you've got the skulls up, be ready for some remnant chests. And the the satyr is a bit of a pain with all his crowd control.
Yeah.
So it's really about kind of mitigating those two things, but otherwise, again, not too really solid quest. The XP is
hmm
really right on par, um, and totally doable. The next quest is Invitation for Dinner. This is a level 32 quest. And I would recommend it's again non-linear. You have to go to 4 points that are semi-randomly determined. They come in there's only a certain number of iterations, but this is one of those quests that one I would say learn the basic map. It's not too difficult, and the quest objectives tell you which floor to go to, which is helpful. There's one that's really misleading where it tells you to go to the torture chamber, and you actually need to go through the basement floor, not the dungeon floor. So watch out for that. But what a lot of people do is they learn a couple sets of cards and farm the quest to get a set of cards they like, and then they run the quest. This quest has fantastic XP.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like base 150k XP on Elite in Epics. This is a quest. We were talking about this when I was running this weekend. This is totally a quest that you can put on your daily runs if you need to for leveling purposes. Run it on normal or hard, and you're still gonna get a ton of XP once you know what you're doing. The Reaper XP is good too, but I mean the quest just the general epic XP is really high in this quest. So it's a great one to rerun.
hmm Yeah, this is a really fun quest. And it's got the cards make it unique in a lot of ways. and just the whole feel of the castle the first time you're seeing it, if you're
Mhm.
not run through Ravenloft before, is so much fun. And if you explore, you can be in here for hours. But
Easily.
if you
If you get lost, you can be in here for hours.
yeah, but you run the if you learn the, like you said, if you learn the cards, then it's not that bad. You can move pretty quickly through it. It's got some really good loot in it as well. So it's worth running to get some of the gear too.
Blanket statement: the loot's really good.
Yeah, across the board here. Yeah, this is where you're doing your loot farming right now. If you're farming loot. Yeah, the only thing is, from an exit standpoint, you don't want to have to exit through the front door.
I like the front door fight. I don't know what everyone has against it. Just don't take a D door. I did that the first time. That was hilarious and highly entertaining, but not advised.
It's that fight is that exit point is harder than any other exit point. That's all I'll say.
Sure, I'll accept that. Yeah, this is a really good one. Learn kind of what you need to do to get out of it, and if you're running it for the first time or you're not really familiar with it, pay attention to the quest objectives. I think it's by default the J key will turn them on or off so you can see them. They tell you where to go, literally what floor to be on, and then just find the South Tower, which is really easy to find, and you can kind of cruise through it. So, but yeah, not different. I think we ran all these on like four or five skulls this weekend, and with it was a really good group, but they didn't really give us any problems. We could have done higher for the most part on some of these. Oddly enough, the invitation for dinner is level 32.
Yeah, well, I noticed they did,
but
they did that with a couple of them. A couple of them, they bumped the level up for some reason. I'm not sure what the thinking there was.
Yeah. You'd think some of the other ones would run a bit. Anyways, so that's the first chain. And again, like I said, you can run each of these chains in an hour without too much difficulty. Chain 2, let's see, Oath of Vengeance, which is
another fun quest.
You think so? It feels a little bland to me compared to some of the other ones.
I like it. This is another one that there is one optimal path that you can really get down. And this quest is a really good one for XP per minute, Reaper XP per minute, if you really want to just hit the optimal path. Where you just basically go right to the two switches. Set your mirrors, go upstairs, get your key.
Switches.
Yeah, 3 switches. Yeah, you get your stuff done. You're in and out. But if you want to explore it, it's a fun area. I think. I don't know. I like it. There's some different things. There's some optional stuff, but now, as I recall, you do not actually need to kill the bosses at the very end. You just need to solve the puzzle. So
that is true. I don't even think you need to kill them to loot the chest.
No, I don't think so. No.
It's easy.
As long as you don't mind them hitting you while you're looting.
I mean, I'd kill the first couple ones, or like the not boss level ones, but
it's a harpy, so if it's annoying you, then you can just ignore it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels a little blah to me for some reason.
Well, this is 3 chains, kind of almost like in the Menace of the Underdark, methodology. And the first chain, though, in this one is just so good that in a lot of ways, the second one, even though I've really liked the second one, it does pale a little bit in comparison. And then the third one, I think, is really where some blandness sets in for me. But no, I like this one.
Yeah, I think Oath might be one of my 3 least favorites out of the chain. So,
all right.
It's kind of everything's the same Bob for the most part, and
yeah, there is that, and they are
really shiny.
No, yeah, that's a fair point.
Raven at the Door, another pretty good XP one. It's pretty high base. It's back to Castle Ravenloft. So once you've learned that map, you've got 2 quests you do. The biggest knock I think that I see against it is the end fight is 2 big golems that are throwing cloud kills everywhere, which is a little annoying. Make sure you bring something to deal with that, either break enchantment or gust of wind or something like that. We'll handle that pretty easily. But otherwise, it's and this one doesn't change; it's the same route every time.
Yes.
So it's There's a couple. Again, there's some optionals you can do. Get some extra chests. There's a second named loot chest optional as well. So
Yeah, which is always good.
Not terribly difficult to do. But if you're doing this for XP and whatnot, then it's nice it doesn't have an extra named loot chest, but it's like one of the quests that I like. The named loot is not really anything that I'm ever really looking for.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination of stuff. There's a couple items that look like they'd be good, but then when you end up trying to gear out your entire gear set, you find that I don't know, it just doesn't seem to fit quite as well. I mean,
the only thing that I like out of it is the Brace of the Fallen Hero, and then everything else is
Strength 19.
I guess the Skull Ring, but
yeah, the Skull Ring's good if you're necromancy focused, because that's always solid. The Phase Cloak's not too bad, I guess, although I don't really typically want evocation focus with intelligence as much. Although I guess that might be like a more of an artificer item. I don't play an artificer.
Anyways, next one is Mad Tea Party. This one, the thing to know about this one are there are some ways to really mitigate some of the fights.
Yes.
Because you can talk to I don't remember their names, but you can talk to the one dude that's in the first little area where you talk to the lady and the Baron, and he'll help you fight later. You can talk to the guy in the Baron's house, and he'll come fight for you. Well, he will fight against them. He'll also fight you. But so there's some ways to mitigate some of these fights. And again, this is another one of those. Once you optimize the path, you can really kind of cruise through them. The thing to know about Ravenloft, just as an overarching statement, is particularly in the less so in the third chain, because they tend to be a little bit more linear, or at least less non-linear. The first two chains really reward you for learning the quest and optimizing your pathing, because you can really cut down on how much time you spend in these quests and really maximize that XP per minute and the Reaper XP per minute especially. So
yeah, this is a fun quest though, and it has a lot of dialogue going on, and there's like you said, there's a lot of different options you can hit. Yeah, alternate endings. Yeah, it's a fun quest from that perspective. It's a really good role playing style quest, and I really like it for that reason.
Skip the end fight if you do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that. I think it's one that I haven't run it a ton as much as some of the other ones, so I don't necessarily know the optimal path per se, but I could see where it could be very good for Reaper XP, and if you can get all that down to a science.
All right, that takes us to Sealed and Amber, which is the capstone of Chain 2, which for a while was really, 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 really popular for going on high schools. They fixed a few things with that quest so that you have to actually find some passwords every time. It's still pretty popular from a high school standpoint.
And it should be, because there's still two options where you only have to know the initial password, and I think Yantar and Marak maybe, but and you can get there real quick.
Once you get the Yantar is the one they give you the first, I think.
Yes.
But once you find the Marak.
Yep.
I don't know. There's one password. Once if you know how to do the lich, how to get to and do the lich, you get a second password right away, and it clears. If you've got someone who can find secret doors, you're clear to the end fight to get the end chest, and really can make that quest go a lot faster. This is one of those ones that people really farm for a card they like in this one. Really farm for a card they like in this one. So if you learn the cards, this is a good one.
That doesn't get you loot, by the way. That just gets you Reaper XP really quick. It's like 5 minutes, and you've got 5 or 6K, not on first run.
Something like that.
But to get the chest, you've actually got to do a little more work. You have to get in there, and you actually have to do the end fight.
Which isn't too bad.
No, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not a really challenging fight, and again, there's good loot, so it's probably worth it.
The thing that's challenging about this is the Flame Skulls, which you have less options. They're undead. You can trip them. I don't know why, but you can.
Yeah, that's considering they float.
Yeah. which is nice though, because these things can really put a hurt on you. So you got to be careful about, learn where they spawn and how many there are and where they are, and really try to go after them. I think web works, tentacles work for locking them down, but you got to be careful in here that you don't get too much stuff on high skulls. But otherwise, it's pretty doable. And again, this is another one of those that actually has really good base XP. You can, if you do this on R1, you can go from 28 to 30 pretty much just by running Ravenloft. So it can be a really good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that takes us to Chain 3, which starts with the final vintage. A little bit non-linear, but in a very confined, small area. Probably the place you can save the most amount of time is upstairs, finding the first bit. You can find it through the doors, so you know which door to open. Or otherwise, it's pretty short. This is one of the few ones that's actually labeled as short, so you'll get less Reaper XP out of it.
But it's a fast run. So I mean, I've seen people doing it, for the XP and such.
Yeah. I think this one and Into the Mist are the only two that are labeled as short. So.
Yeah. But again, it's fast to run. You get a chest it's gonna have good loot in it. The drop rates in Ravenloft are pretty solid. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's.
Oh yeah. I mean, the belt never wants to drop from me out of this one, but
Oh, you're talking about the dex quality dodge blurry belt.
The one you need for the Silent Avenger set.
Yeah, that one's an amazing belt. For the set bonus and then also just for the stats on it. Anyone that's a dex build, monks, rogues, all that sort of thing. It's a great belt.
Let's see, the second one out of here is the Wrath of Earth, which is quite possibly the most straightforward of all of the Ravenloft quests. Well, except for Into the Mist. Technically, it's not straight because you go in a circle, but go counterclockwise and you do the quest, really. There's nothing to this one.
It's like if NASCAR was a quest, this would be it. Turn left.
There you go.
This is my least favorite of the Ravenloft quests.
I would agree.
Right down to the run a little while, mobs come get you. Run a little while, mobs come get you.
And it has performance issues too. Generally, which is part of the reason why. But yeah, I agree. It's probably the least interesting out of all of them. Followed by Raven's Bane, which is probably Raven's Bane and Wrath of Earth are probably my two least favorite. Followed by Oath of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Although Oath of Vengeance is a far cry above both of them, I think.
I don't like Raven's Bane just because
scarecrows, and more scarecrows.
Scarecrows are annoying. Yeah, the mob type is all the same mob, which I mentioned before is not a fun thing. It's very dreary, and not in the fun Ravenloft way that Death House is, or the way that Castle Strahd, Strahd's Castle is. It's just dreary, and this blank color palette, and I don't know, and to some degree too, the map doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of fake barriers that shouldn't be there that you have to wait to drop, and I'm never a fan of that mechanic. It just combines a bunch of negative mechanics for me. And it's not particularly great XP or very fast either because of all that. It's
another really good belt that I can never get.
You can't argue with the loot, that's for sure.
This one, when you get to kind of the last section, you can there's a lot of groups of mobs that you can avoid fighting if you kind of hug the left wall and kind of go around, which can help you get through it.
I was running this solo the other day, just on R1 because I was trying to get flagged, and I couldn't find a scarecrow. I missed one somewhere along the way, so I had to go running back through the whole thing, trying to find this damn scarecrow who was hidden off in like one of those like ruins buildings off to the side. I was pretty frustrated by that. So
yeah, you can implode the scarecrows, which can help. But,
that's true.
Again, they're contracts, so the same problem of you lose a lot of options for your casters, and crowd control kind of mechanics. And then that takes us to Sunrise, which is the last.
The other thing to say about them is you can't intim them either. So
no, you can't. It's true.
That's a big pain. Now Sunrise is.
I like Sunrise.
Probably one of my. It's one of my favorite quests actually in this chain. I really enjoy this one. I like the look and the feel of it, and
Varied mob
everything.
selection, different areas. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You do have to,
Yeah.
it's another one of those go find a couple things that can be in different places. But the cards at the beginning kind of tell you where they. This is one that I don't ever see anyone farming cards on this one. Kind of just don't care.
Yeah, no. And I love the loot in here too. There's some really great items in here I really like. So.
Yeah.
And you get 2 chances at it too, which is really nice.
Yeah, the fight against the abbot is kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Again, if you're maximizing your XP, you don't really need to do it, but yeah. So that gets you through the whole quest chains. We'll talk about the raids in a minute, but probably not running those for XP anyways, which is good because the XP is not really that great. But the ones that I look at for your reruns, Sealed and Amber. Death House is kind of popular to rerun kind of for the loot because it has the freedom of movement boots. But the 2 castle quests in Sealed and Amber I think are all really good XP even on reruns.
Yeah. Especially
Invitation for Dinner is kind of the one that I would definitely say if you're looking for some more variety in your daily runs, look at Invitation for Dinner. It's a good one, a good place to be. So
absolutely.
The raids, Old Baba's Hut, which has no flagging, you just have to be able to get there. And Curse of Strahd, which you need to have run all 3 chains in order to do. They're both really good raids. I like the challenge and the mechanics that are kind of on them. Old Baba's Hut, is a little too much puzzle, a little too much rinse repeat. But otherwise, the mechanics are really solid. You're not going to run them for XP, but you will probably run them a lot for the loot. They're all really popular, both really popular for loot. So, yeah, be good places to go for that kind of stuff. They're very popular, that's for sure. Very, very popular raids right now. We're running those 2 raids 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Less right now because we're ramping up the skulls to see how high we can get them.
Very fun.
There you go. We have now covered every quest and raid from a leveling perspective, and then some.
It's been a long journey. When did you start this with level 1?
Oh man, that's a good question. My notes say in August, end of August.
Yeah, I knew it was pre-Ravenloft. It's been a while.
Yeah, so we've been almost a year, and we're not technically done because we're still going to cover explorer areas as kind of a separate thing, possibly one for challenges. I don't know. Well, we'll kind of explore that a little bit as we go on. In any case, thanks for listening. Join us next time. We'll have a completely new topic to talk about. If you'd like to, thank you to Asheras for joining me today to record leveling 27 to 30. A lot of fun having you here and cruising through some of that stuff. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. You can also find us show notes, past shows, and more on our website as well. You can follow us on social media and follow us for latest cast updates. I'm at DDOCast on Twitter. If you'd like to join the discussion, you can leave a comment or email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.